Thanks for joining me.
You're welcome.
So, I'm just going to get right into it. Do you enjoy refereeing?
I do.
What are your, what makes you want to be a referee? What's enjoyable?
It's fun to stay connected to the game that I played is part of it. I meet a lot of really interesting people. Made a lot of good friends over the years through it, and it's a good fraternity. So I actually love to referee.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, do you think, so you love refereeing. Do you think all of the referees love to referee, or do some of them do it for maybe the income or just something to do?
I think the majority really enjoy it. They may not love it, but I believe they like what they do. I believe there are some that do it more for the money. I don't, but I can tell you I wouldn't do it for free. But we get compensated, and yes, I believe that has to be some motivation. And I think that's when guys are doing, 10, 12 games a week. I'm happy many times with 3 to 4. That's a good week for me. I feel like I got out there, stayed in touch with what's going on, had a couple good games, maybe not so good games. But I don't really like to do every day. Multiple games a day that's just me though. But yes, I believe some do it for the money.
So, you mentioned that you don't like to do so many in a week. How many referees are every single day of the week have a game?
Well, anybody that chooses to. I don't know what the number is, but there are a lot that do, and simply because of the shortage of referees. I could do a game every day. Maybe there's a down day when there's not many games going on that have been offered. But if you really wanted to, you could find a game every day of the week.
Yeah.
Especially in the season. Yeah.
So, there's a referee shortage. That's
Correct.
a lot of people know that at this point.
Yes.
We see a lot of the same faces throughout our seasons. How does that, you get assigned to, say, a Selinsgrove game again? Do you have certain teams that you don't, as a referee, do you not like refereeing certain games?
Well, you give your open dates to the assigners. There's about 3 or 4 people that assign games, and you give them your open dates. On the arbiter system, which is a refereeing system that organizes where we go, when we go, the fee we're going to get, all that is included in that. They will tell you, okay, I'm going to tell them I'm not going to go to Central Mountain. Not because I don't like Central Mountain. I'm just not driving to Central Mountain to do a game. Because I could get assigned one there. Years ago, I used to go Montoursville, Loyal Sock, South Williamsport. About the furthest north I go from where I live now is Muncie. It just begins to not pay to do it, and it is a long night. You have to be there an hour before a varsity game. Leaving Central Mountain, and I just use them as an example. There's other places that could be used as well, but I'm not going to get home till 10:30 at night, and I went there straight from work.
Yeah.
So even on there are schools I have blocked off that I just cannot see eye to eye with their coaching staff. Yeah, and I have them home and away. I just won't do them. It's not worth it. There'll be somebody that will step up and do it. The one thing I have found out though, most of them that I've done that with, more than I have done that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, you get assigned where you're going. Do you get assigned who you're going to be with? Who you will be on your crew?
Not till we accept the game.
Okay. So does that play a role in what games you might take?
Well, you can block officials if you want.
Okay.
I forget if it used to be you could block 3, but I think you might be able to do more than that. I've just made a habit of not blocking any. So I will accept every game, and I believe this is what most do. If I see the crew and I'm not too sure about it, I can always give the game back.
Okay.
I rarely do that. And when you're, let's say I'm going to be assigned a boys varsity game at Milton, and they're going to play Central Columbia. I'm pretty confident that's going to be a pretty good crew.
Yeah.
So when I click on it and I see the other two names, maybe be more comfortable. Maybe, well, I don't really know this guy. I might call somebody and say, hey, what do you know about Joe so-and-so? And, you try to do your homework that way a little bit. But you can return games, even after you accept them. Now, they'll block you for the whole day on Arbiter, which means they won't let you have another game.
Oh.
They'll give you a full day block. And one of the things I ran into this year, and bless their hearts, they're trying to play basketball too, is junior high. But on game days of high school games, I ask them, and it's not that I'm not too good to do those levels. I just prefer not to do them. I'd rather do a high school game. They'll give me a game, and I'll be like, look, I told you, I'm not open for junior high tonight. And then they won't block me for the day. Like they'll say, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Again, it's my preference. And that's what's nice about refereeing. You can ref the levels you want to ref. There's guys that want to just do what they call CYO ball, the little kids ball. They're good referees, but they don't want to. They can walk down to the gym near their house, get $75 to do 3 games, walk back home, night's over, So that's what's nice about the refereeing, and that's all sports. You can kind of choose where you want to go. It'd be, if I could pick crews every night, that would be easier.
I bet. Yeah.
But I wouldn't. But I met some people I never would have known, and we refed a game, and it went really well. It's like, boy, I'd work with you any night, And hopefully they felt the same about me.
Yeah. So as new referees come in, and every season we see at least a few new faces, do you think that with the shortage, some are getting bumped to maybe a varsity game when they should be at a JV level or maybe a little bit below that?
Yes, and only because they're forced to do it. It's not. I mean, if they're going to offer you a varsity game in your second year or something, I can't say you shouldn't take it. Just make sure you're ready, and listen to the advice. I still listen to advice when I work with a senior official and they give me something. I'm listening, and it's a lot to process though when you're maybe in your second year, third year. You're just not real confident on a lot of parts of the floor, a lot of what you're seeing. You'll maybe see a lot of train wrecks and nothing happens. And it's just a natural instinct that you don't jump in because maybe you're just not quite sure, And I know I didn't really this was my 21st year. When I started, you weren't going to get a varsity game for your first 2 or 3 years because there were refs that were out, there were referees, and I would say I wasn't comfortable doing varsity games till my 7th or 8th year, and that was running the JV circuit, running the 9th grade circuit, the junior high circuit, the summer leagues, the men's leagues, all that stuff I did, and it still took me because there's nothing more to me more sacred than a team. 2 teams, and I take every game serious. Guys will rate games. That really upsets me. I will take whatever game I have. Those 2 teams are working hard to be the best they can be. They may not be very good sometimes, or it may be very good against not so good, or maybe 2 teams that are very evenly matched, whether it's good or bad. But they're putting their effort into it. They deserve our effort. And they're going to make mistakes, and we're going to make mistakes. So if we can respect each other through it, it goes pretty smoothly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can definitely say, like, as the athletes, we appreciate the understanding. Like, we work hard day in and day out, so we just
correct.
We look for the respect, and we try to respect referees and we know that it's not an easy job.
No.
Personally would not be able to.
Well, you should try it. I think that there are a lot of females getting involved in it, and then they do well. I believe they take some of that more serious about the work ethic, and I believe sometimes when I work with the women, they feel they're looked at differently, maybe judged differently because they are doing it that way, but they can advance quicker.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it. most of them are much more athletically better shape. Let's just say look better in the uniform, if you will, than us old 60-year-old guys. But if they get their minds to it, and I don't just mean the women on that one, but the young kids, they can do a really good job. And I don't want to get off your topic, but they came up with a program this year for high school kids to be able to referee. Did you see those cards?
I have not.
They're kind of encouraging to try to bring these younger kids. It's a great idea, but it's a horrible concept because they want them to do junior high games. Do you know what the hardest game to do when you're starting out is being involved in a junior high setting? It's very emotional. The kids are very rough. The parents are very, I don't know. As a whole, they're good. But when it's not good, it's chaos.
Yes.
And I know some junior high coaches, and they can vouch that their actions on the floor, and this is what I emphasize at that level, but I have 21 years experience to talk to them and tell them this is what we expect. I'm not a junior in high school or a freshman in college or whatever year. They don't have that same initiative because they're just not as sure about things, But I will tell them your actions on the floor, this isn't really at any level, but especially there, is going to reverberate into the stands. Mm-hmm. So if you constantly are calling for a travel, or if you're constantly saying over the back, which is not a call, it's on the back, that's going to be heard. And it's going to be used against us. So just coach, all right? If we miss an on the back, that's on us, and we'll try not to miss the next one. But now you got a kid that's doing this. They don't want to hear it. They're not going to. No. And 70 out of if 4 people sign up to ref in less than 3, I think it's 3 years. By the 3rd year, most of the time there's only 1 left.
We can understand that the way that a lot of them are being treated.
But it's the level they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You may not believe this, but it's easier for me to do a boys varsity basketball game than a 7th and 8th grade game. Mm-hmm. It's just, and I can only explain it this way. It's easier to do because of the play is 2 teams that can play against 2 teams that are learning to play.
Yeah.
So when they can play, it's easy. That's the easiest night you'll have. Oh, it could be a gym full of people, crazy atmosphere. The students are going crazy. But these 2 teams can play. And all you need to do is stay out of their way.
Yeah.
And they'll play.
So as a player right now, I'm in high school playing. I look for the goods in the game and things that we're doing correctly. And then obviously your coaches are looking for your goods. And then as a referee, you're looking for like the things that aren't good in the game, the fouls and the travels. How is it different from being like a coach or a player compared to a referee? You're looking for, I don't want to say negatives, but you're not looking for.
Well, the easiest way that I think is each coach has principles. Ryan Brandt may have principles of how he likes to see his offense and his defense. And the opposing coach may have their views, right? So they both have principles of basketball, which are both correct. Their players are playing under those principles. They may not always agree with those principles, and that's why coaches move on and teams just don't always work. But that's that side of the ball. Our side of the ball is we have a rule book. And we're to take those rules and interpret those rules to the way that they were meant to be interpreted. That's why many times you'll see certain judgment calls that people disagree with. It's judgment. Okay, I'll give you an example where we should not mess up. We have a technical foul and then a second technical foul after that. Or we have simultaneous technicals. How do you administer that? We need to get that right.
Yeah.
You guys care, but that's not what you're prepared for that night. I know I'm going to miss a travel sometime. I may miss a moving screen sometimes. That doesn't mean I'm not going to call them all night, but that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the kid. I love it when the kid can shoot threes and they all go in. It's like, that's nice. I'm not rooting for you, but boy, he's having a good night or she's having a good night tonight, and it's fun to watch, But the difference is, you're doing more of principles work. We're doing more of, this is the rule. Yes, we may not agree with that rule, but it's the rule.
Okay.
And as we start to see things that we notice, hey, teams are doing this more. Maybe we should talk to the PIAA about changing this rule, and I'm not on any of those committees, but that's how rules get changed, One of the big things that's coming up now, it has nothing to do with the play, is the time of the quarters. Many leagues have gone to JV 7-minute quarters, and there's good and bad to that. Sometimes you go out to a team, they'll have 6 players. And 2 of those players are going to probably play in the varsity game. Do we really need to make them play 8-minute quarters in a JV game, Or you'll run into these teams that have 12 kids on the bench, or 12 kids, have a hard time getting them in. The JV level is a development level. I think everybody would agree with that. Try to get them playing, try to get them in. Yes, we care who wins the game, but at the same time, get them all in there, get them involved. And I'll do some some nights, you'll see a team, they sub 3-4 at a time. Another team that keeps their starters in the whole time. There sits 7 kids on the bench. Maybe they'll get another 1 or 2 in. And you're kind of frustrated because you're thinking, look, you got all these kids, let them play. It's varsity level, different.
Yeah.
It's just different. It's PIAA recognizes all that as you can make play. You don't have JV playoffs. You don't have junior high playoffs. Now, if you go to a tournament, it's a little different there. You take a 7th grade team to a tournament. Now you want to win the tournament. We all know it's a little different atmosphere. Okay, so it's just a trophy at stake, but there's something that they're playing for a little differently here. So we ref it. Not that we would ref it differently, but we understand it's different here. Just 2 7th grade teams playing. Hey, hopefully nobody gets hurt. Hopefully it stays in the fences. And in the end, I guess we care who wins, but we don't. But somebody does. But is it that important? So that's how I kind of approach I approach every game the same way. It's just there's played differently.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the development, even for my team, we see that our JV kids are working at every practice. They're running through the same drills that we are for varsity.
Right.
So we know that they love their playing time and they want it just as bad as we do on a different level. So
that's what the competition's all about. Yeah. Yep.
So transitioning, this is a school project. Mr. Bettel, Ryan Bettel, is my teacher.
Never heard of him.
So do you have you refed with all 3 Bettels?
I can't get into Bettel, and Bettel Law Group, but I've refed with all the Bettels.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all very good guys, and we have a lot of fun. Before, during, and after the games, we enjoy working together.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So
Ryan, I said hi.
I will be sure to let him know. Just as far as, so we've already touched on that there's shortages with referees and they're not coming out. Do you think, so after we graduate high school, do you think there's kids don't want to come out because are they afraid of being wrong when they're trying to referee? Are they afraid of how parents and fans are going to view them? Why do you think we're just not willing to be a referee?
Probably some of those reasons. I think society's a little different too. The kids have a lot more things they can be doing. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of your time, and if you want to be good at it, you're going to have to put the time into it. I look at a kid like Robbie Rourke. I watched him the other night. He did the Alabama Ole Miss game. I worked some of his first games he ever did with them. Mm-hmm. I was the senior guy, but that's where he worked to. And like him or not, I don't know. I love it that he does it. We have a girl that worked the finals of the women's NCAA's last year. Started in our chapter.
It's definitely
Yes.
just as far as
That's-
there's things out there and you can
Yes.
reach those goals if you want to.
Yeah, they
So.
become professionals at it,
Mhm.
and so I just enjoy it. I have fun doing it. I want to do it as long as my body lets me to do it. Me do it, and it's just it's been a good road so far. So I've had my incidents where we didn't always see eye to eye on something, but I try to look at their side of it too. The coach isn't always wrong.
No.
The fans aren't always wrong. Sometimes they're right. So we'd
Yeah.
like to be right more than they are, though. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely a goal to strive
if you didn't
for.
get it right tonight, get it right tomorrow night.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's kind of the principle I have, and I think most of my fellow officials are the same way. They do not want to make the mistake. They do not want to be confrontational. They just want to get in, have a nice clean game, go home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. So I guess we're gonna wrap it up here.
Okay.
Thank you for joining me.
You're
I
quite welcome.
appreciate it.
If you ever have any other questions, there's a lot of officials I could put you in contact with that could help. Yes.
Thank you.
You're
I'm
welcome.
sure I'll see you at some point this season.
Maybe sooner than yes. All right.
Probably.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.